sure. He's in there. Our recorders are writing as fast as they can. They may not be legible later. Okay, while they're finishing up, we have a special presentation. Spontaneous and unplanned special presentation. Fran Albrecht from the Watson Children's Home is here, and she has a special project she wants to tell you about.
It's not about me, actually. I just want to extend the opportunity. Many of you know about this, but I am also the host for KPAX Community Spotlight, and it is a free opportunity for you to come onto the show, and I make it painless. It's free. You come on and you talk about whatever it is that your organization or whatever it is that you would like to promote, and it's just a 2.5-minute interview. All you have to do is call KPAX and schedule it. We record those every Monday. I go in there and I change my clothes a couple times so it looks like it's every day. That's a don't tell. And we run it from, we record from 8:30 to 10, but you have to call in advance and just get that scheduled. But if you, I know you have events, I know you have fundraisers, and I know you have certain needs, and it's free, and you should get out there and utilize it and get it out to the public. So the number at KPAX, you don't call me. I just show up and interview you, and I just enjoy helping you get the word out to the community about all the important things that you're doing, and that's a privilege for me. The number at KPAX is 542-4400, and please use it. I hope to meet more of you, and thanks for all the work you're doing.
Thanks, Fran. Chantel, you're here. You're all done writing. Great. You'll notice we have 5 flip charts up here rather than the 4 for the 4 area, because there's always the creative one in the bunch who comes up with the other category. So Chantel is going to explain a little bit about what's up on your list.
So this represents more information that fit into the 10-year plan and not necessarily just what we're gathering for the needs assessment. And it was a comprehensive plan for Missoula City and County with strategic protective factors, mostly focused on bringing together what already exists. We've got prevention for substance abuse and prevention for suicide and prevention for teen dating violence, and bringing all of those together so that there is one comprehensive plan that then the various groups who are working on can find parts of work in an integrated way and make more headway. And then another one was a city-county supported youth center, bringing together existing youth programs and services under one roof, so a one-stop shop idea. And within our group, we had some discussion how in other communities, these either already exist or are being developed, and that they provide cross-training for staff, opportunity for staff sharing, reduce overhead and administrative costs, and have a larger impact for youth in the community. So they're in our other section.
Anybody have any comments about any of that? Agree, disagree, good thing, thumbs up? Okay. Let's start over here. Let's see, what do we have? Public service. Let's start with economic development. It's great to see so many things on economic development. Somebody's been working very hard. I'm going to just go through these really quickly, and as we come to them, if anybody wants to tell me what it is in more detail, this is your chance to do that. We have business assistance with toward the shrinking pool of qualified employers with incentivized job creation at the University of Montana. Anybody want to talk to that? No? Okay. Need for training and job creation, partnership health share, excuse me, what? Thank you, Mike. Okay, I'll have more. I thought he was saving as part of the partnerships, job training programs, placement at the job treatment program and placement at the PAW are 2 different things? Okay. Okay, alrighty. Regional economic development planning as a multi-county project, access to training and trades, infrastructure assistance, glass recycling within 5 years, small business and micro enterprise, more jobs outside the service sector, livable wage, development of the inner, especially the inner city, and green collar jobs. So, that it on that page? Is that everything there? Okay. So are any of these projects that are being listed here things that people think are going to be happening in the next year or so, that they're actually going to come in and apply for CDBG and home? It would be like which ones?
Job training or breaking barriers programs is just a sort of a reflection that the POV for 35 years would just have churches and nuns taking care of the homeless. Well, August of last year, we had 250 people going through this facility. This year, we have 350. We have one social worker on the site. And so other statewide models and national models are more reflective of true housing referrals, job training on-site, sort of social workers there, that sort of case management. They're called all kinds of things. The POV's going to be calling it our Breaking Barriers program. We are going to apply for CDBG funds for that.
Great, thanks. Okay. Mike, you want to come up and talk about public service? Sure. That's over here.
I can read these almost as well as you. I've done this several times. Nancy got the onus for this year. I think she's doing a great job. Yes? Okay. Thank you. Well, yeah, I'm phasing out here. Okay, under public facilities, yes? Service? Okay. So, because I'm looking at the first one, extended stay at a temp shelter with case management, maybe more of a facility thing, but Ellie, I'll bet that's yours. Do you want to? Shut up.
So, yeah, obviously right now the Poverello Center offers 30-day stays. Like I just mentioned, we are at unprecedented rates. This year, as of July and August, we were full at capacity both July and August. So any sense of how we're going to maintain our current homeless services in this town, we've done it. We're at capacity, so we need to have the conversation about that. The sort of extended stay element is more what they do in Kalispell and Helena, and again on a national level, which is at 30 days, anybody that wants to, so some folks, yeah, they are sort of what more Jim Morton can reference, which is if they had rental assistance, they can stay with us for a week or 10 days. But the next level is, if we wanted to get into transitional housing or wanted to get them to assisted housing, Section 8 vouchers or whatnot, they have to stay with us longer than 30 days, and it's not appropriate for them to stay in a bunk bed. And so we have folks staying with us for 2 months, 3 months, and 4 months. And at 4 months, why should we be surprised if they go down to the Ox to have a drink? Well, because it sucks to stay in a bunk bed for 4 months. So there has to be this sort of element in between the Valor House, the Joe, the Uptown, and a 30-day stay in a bunk bed. And that's what the POB has to have the conversation about, I guess, with the extended stay element.
You're getting comped there, aren't you? And this is, this a continuing need. I won't even ask anybody to talk about security deposit assistance. That's been an ongoing thing in all these discussions from year to year, because even with rentals, you all have clients who can't afford to get into a rental. They might be able to afford the rent. The deposit burden is such, and we have funded some assistance programs. We continue to do that. We funded one at MHA several years ago. We continue to fund one at Word. Increased child care assistance. I would say that also is one that, that continues to be, and is an ongoing problem. The folks that we deal with can't afford childcare, or it's certainly a marginal sort of situation for them. And let's face it, the people who care for kids are grossly underpaid. Those folks generally can use assistance as well. Funding for detox programs, again, something that we have certainly supported, and substance abuse programs coordinated with jails. Talk about that one. Okay, good.
Well, I can talk about the detox too. We lost some HUD funding we had to support our detox program, and we just have a couple slots that are funded through St. Pat's now, but they're in place now and they might go away. So I'm just worried if that goes away, it's not going to be available, and then people are either going to end up at the hospital or on the street or in jail. And on the substance abuse services in the jails, I think if my agency, which is Turning Point, is able to go into the jail and identify these folks and work with them in the jail, providing groups and assessments and coordinate with them, we're able to actually engage them while they're in jail, and when they get out, transition right to treatment. They don't end up back there in the next week or so. So we had some success in Hamilton at the jail down there doing it that way, and it'd be nice to do that more here. That's it.
Low-income bus passes, that's something that's certainly recurring. The folks that we serve definitely need help with transportation, and it's a major issue, not only in what we look at through this needs assessment, but it's also been part and parcel of the UFTA stuff that we've looked at to say, wait a minute, we're, not everybody, driving is getting more and more expensive. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but I had to mention earlier, we were running the video, the housing video that our staff produced earlier this year. The mayor in that video weighed about 130 pounds more than he does now, and gas cost about $1.30 less than it does now. So that if you might want him to stop losing weight, because if that continues to force gas prices up, we're in trouble. Food for the food bank. I think that there has been a consistent record of support for the food bank all across the community. It's seen as a people have suggested that food banks are one of our state's fastest growing industries and job creators. That's not an enviable position to be in, but we do continue to recognize that need. Staff employees to coordinate growing client populations. Is that yours? No, who wants to claim that? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm just bringing it up for my group. I didn't say it.
I think that's, again, the breaking barriers made reference that we need staff to coordinate the numbers of folks that are being served by the Poverello Center. We've talked about it at our meetings as well, as trying to have coordination between service providers, particularly with the Poverello Center. We need somebody to coordinate our jail diversion program and our mental health. So sort of that cross between Turning Point and Share House and the POV, living on the streets, our jails, St. Pat's Hospital, there's no coordination. And so right now we sort of do it ad hoc and get together and meet with Brenda Desmond or Teresa Connolly or Kevin from Share House or whatever, but it would help if we had staffing in place at the Poverello Center to coordinate the numbers of homeless people utilizing all these resources, because we are duplicating a lot of services, is the idea.
And I guess we can't afford to duplicate a lot of services anymore, can we? Low-income bike sharing program. We're fortunate to have a good bike program here in town. I know that bicycles tend to show up in my alley and unclaimed, and then they all make their way over to free cycles, and that's and we have been in discussion over the years with free cycles to figure out a way that possibly some assistance could be channeled there. Expand Meals on Wheels' ability to meet growing need between the ages of 18 and 59. If I remember correctly, Cindy, didn't we fund this in the very first year of CDBG or the second year? And again, it's primarily for folks with disabilities, but there is clearly a need for that type of service. It's currently restricted to folks who are or 60 or above in terms of the federal program, but there has been an interest locally in supplementing that. Emergency shelter for families. I haven't seen that one before. Who wants to talk about that? Larry?
We talked some in our group about what's currently being done. The Salvation Army has a wonderful program where they provide hotel vouchers, but they don't have enough money to provide those. And there's been some discussion about, with the expansion of the POV, is that an appropriate place for some emergency family beds? So that discussion needs to keep happening, and we need to address the fact that we currently have very minimal emergency shelter for families right now in Missoula.
It seems to me that this is almost a quintessential example of what we're doing here, of what we need to do. This has been a topic that we've talked about for many years now, and one of the problems has been that when we've looked at, because we don't have the physical place to shelter families, we don't have a facility. So there's been discussion, okay, we need a facility. Can we afford it? And if we could afford the facility, can we afford to staff it? And that runs through all of these, that we get a relatively small amount of assistance through HUD to do these sorts of things, and it's one of those cases where, well, what's the tipping point here? Where does the need become so great that we absolutely must address it? Can we address it with federal resources? Obviously we would need considerable local resource to create and staff a facility like this. The community, I think, has been very generous with the POV, but you saw the figures earlier on where the homeless population resides in this state, and it's in Missoula. One of the reasons for that is probably the POV. Which is a good thing. I mean, I think that this community, and I've seen many examples of it just this week because I was fundraising for muscular dystrophy. This is a very generous community, and I think we want to continue to be charitable and to be to outreach to folks. But we have to put it in a context of what we can afford, and this is one of those key questions. Yeah.
I'd just like to say that the Poverello Center, we have that foundation in place. It's not like we have to start from scratch. And also, well, that was my main point. Okay.
Here. Do you want the mic? Well, then just be quiet. I will try to get you out of here on time. Respite child care. This has been something that we've supported out at Parenting Place, an ongoing program. Community strengthening project. Briefly, somebody want to talk about that? National Community Building? Yes.
Briefly, we're looking at the focus here on building housing and low-income housing. That we know our picture is around safety and livability of neighborhoods. That housing doesn't equal neighborhoods and infrastructure doesn't equal community. So what can we do to actually build the relationships that sustain people, so that you don't need necessarily services and programs, but you have relationships between people to lend tools and time and food and childcare, etc. And we can do that.
Nami, thank you. Okay. Energy conservation and youth volunteerism. I'm not going to let you talk about that. No.
Well, it's pretty simply just trying to get area youth involved in the idea of conservation, trying to get them to do some volunteerism. There's a project in Denver, Colorado. Denver has a pretty serious drought from time to time. The city actually appropriated out of its own money to have volunteers and others go forward and do energy conservation on water. They united with the unions and the trades so that the youth who are actually doing that work as both volunteer and paid then have first priority to go into union apprenticeships and to community colleges to learn those trades and get a certification. That they did on their own.
Thanks, Jim. And extend child care hours and availability. We had child care here. Again, it's certainly recognized as an issue. Nancy, do you want to? Oh, I'm sorry. Do I need to flip? No, I thought that they were. We've just ignored it. We're not.
I believe this is still under infrastructure, correct? For housing?
No, this is service.
Oh, okay.
We haven't gotten over here yet.
All right, we're going to do infrastructure right now. Sidewalks, especially in Orchard Homes and Franklin of the Fort, wanting to reduce permit costs. Sewer, especially down South Street. Sewer is a popular one. Rebuilt and moved POV in 2 years. Lots of resources listed. There's a check mark, which means more than one of you thought that was a great idea. And I assume that's just a project that's probably in the works anyway. Right. Homeownership Center through Homeward. Is that a continuation of that? Okay. That's a facility, an actual place to do this. Great. Facility improvement at the POV. Sewer extension to Mountain Homes. I know that there's a project that Gypsy is pulling together there, and there's no sewer to it, although she lives just across Reserve. Short-term family shelter, it kind of touched over there, and I guess we're talking about an actual facility for that. Is it? Okay. Okay. And utilization of existing infrastructure and buildings. I'm going to talk really fast. Places for supportive services for aging, first-time homeless, and chronic homeless. Again, it was repeating the expansion of the POV. More bike lanes, express routes within 4 years. Better mass transit, better crosstown routes, coverage not all to downtown. More bike carriers on buses. Low-income bike maintenance facilities. Watson Children's Center. Was this yours? Yay, made it. Whew. New facility, more space. Public Partnership Health Center, building, remodel, and expansion. Poverello News Facility, that's been mentioned a couple times. Sidewalks, and improved bike ped connectivity. Don't tell me there's a third, thank you. Housing, so we got you covered there, Fran? Okay. You got covered and a cheer. Housing. I'm not letting Mike take the mic back because, you know, on housing, you'll never go home. So, housing needs, teen transitional housing. That would be Gypsy, Ray, and Mountain Home. Low-income housing tax credits, units for rental, Missoula Housing Authority. That's a you're going to be doing that, and you are doing that. Supportive housing, special needs population, focus on homeless, veterans, teens. First-time home buyer assistance through manufactured housing. That's HRC, and I assume HRC, yeah. Rural senior housing through Homeward in Sealy. Well, that's different. Did you guys want to talk about that at all? Be quick.
Yeah, you know me. We're partnering with Silly Swan Medical Clinic. They have some land, they have a clinic they've built, and we're going to do a joint venture project with them and build them some senior housing. We don't know how many units or what we're going to do, but that's part of the excitement. But it's coming down the pike and it's in the county.
Great, thank you. Enhance and utilize existing urban sites. Zoning rewrite. Do I not want to touch that one? No. Okay, anybody want to? Would somebody like to talk about that? No? No? Okay. Rehab and preservation of existing units and buildings. Rental and ownership properties programs for the 80 to 120% AMI. As you know, most of our HUD programs are focused on people who are below 80% of area median income. And this would take into account the people that are just above that. We have a lot of people who can't get into housing because they don't qualify because they're just above those percentages. So this kind of looks at that group of people. Housing for aging homeless in urban within 3 years. Comprehensive housing plan for homeless youth 16 to 21. Is that to develop a plan? Nothing behind there? Nothing behind there. Is that it? Get everything? Great. Yes?
We have one under public services for subsidized respite for caregivers of elders that I don't think I heard mentioned. That's okay.
We have obviously more detailed notes that each of the facilitators took in your group, so it's been really helpful for all of you to get that because we're getting some really definitive things coming out. I want to thank you all for coming. It was great. I know there were lots of different things going on tonight. It was a very busy night in Missoula, as it often is, but it just seemed like they all, every day I was hearing of another event that was happening on the 18th, and I was like, oh, great, there was another people going there. So it's nice that you all came today. We are going to take these sheets and put them together, and if anyone has any projects they want to email us about or call us about or write us about, go ahead and do that. A good place to look for information about this process is going to be on our website, which is this www.co.missoula.mt.us/OPGweb. And we'll be having more information on that as we go. The next steps that I want you to be thinking about is we're planning at this point to have a second meeting for the consolidated plan. This is a major planning document for Missoula. It's what directs what we do for the next 5 years. And there's a number of questions that go beyond just the projects in terms of what we want to do with our planning for Missoula. One of those, for example, is currently for home, only certified housing development organizations are allowed to apply for home. Well, the question is, do we want to expand that so that private developers or other nonprofits could apply for it without having to have CHOTO designation? And those of you who are familiar with CHOTO knows what that means. There's just special things you have to do. Just questions about whether we want to have tenant-based rental assistance as part of the project and what we do. And there's some just technical things about how we do processes. We also have noticed you received, as you came in here, a handout of the executive summary of the last 5-year consolidated plan. You'll notice the heart and soul of that is the 10 objectives. We'll be looking at those 10 objectives to see if they still reflect what the objectives of the community are. They're not sacrosanct. We can rewrite them, we can keep them, we can do whatever the public would like to do. So we will be looking at those again. Media deadline's coming up as the clock ticks down to 8:30. The next step in this process is September 23rd, which is this Tuesday, and it's my mom's 90th birthday. But I will still be there for the application workshop because she sleeps in the afternoon. So that will be from 2 o'clock until 4 o'clock. We'll be meeting in the Jack Reedy Conference Room right here next door. If you have a project ready to come forward for either home or CDBG, that'll be your opportunity to come to learn a little bit about the application, which has not changed from last year, except for the dates, thank God. And then the next deadline for that is October 20th. If any of you have a proposal, we need to hear about that in writing. An email is fine, but let us know by October 20th whether you have a project that you're planning on putting in for either CDBG and home. We need something in writing. It basically says, what's the project, how much money do you think it's going to be, quick, short paragraph of what it is. And then the most important date probably is November 24th. Did I hit that right? It's the Monday before Thanksgiving. We let you have Thanksgiving off, but we give you the weekend before to work on it. That's the date the applications are actually due for both home and CDBG. So any of you who are applying for those funds, that would be the time to do that. So I thank you again for all of you for coming. Yes, question? We have not set the second meeting yet for the consolidated plan, but all of you who are on the list will be getting another email. Thanks.